Are Lucifer and Satan the same person? This shocking, never seen before, complete 4K story of the fall of Lucifer will shock the world in 2025. Space, vast and infinite, home to celestial wonders. Imagine a realm of fiery beauty. Heaven. Here, among stars, walked a being of light. Lucifer, the most beautiful being in heaven, adorned with jewels and wisdom. His face radiated a serene expression, and his features were the epitome of divine craftsmanship. His radiance was unmatched, echoing with heavenly music. His every step ignited cosmic sparks. He was perfection, a testament to the Creator's power. Lucifer was the anointed cherub, the seal of perfection. His presence was a testament to the glory of the heavens. Chosen by the divine to stand above all other angels, his wings spanned the cosmos, touching the farthest reaches of the universe. His songs echoed with the music of creation, resonating through the fabric of reality. Each note he sang was a symphony of the cosmos, a melody that brought life to the stars. He moved with a grace that shaped the celestial bodies around him. His every motion was a dance of elegance, a testament to his divine origin. His wisdom was unmatched, a wellspring of knowledge that flowed endlessly. He understood the secrets of the universe, the mysteries that eluded even the most ancient of beings. His mind was a repository of cosmic truths, a library of the divine. The delicate balance of life and death, the intricate dance of creation and destruction, was known to him. He held the scales of existence in his hands, a guardian of equilibrium. The very rhythm of existence pulsed through his being. He was in harmony with the universe, feeling its heartbeat, sensing its every fluctuation. Yet, this knowledge became a double-edged sword. The weight of his understanding brought with it a burden, a conflict that stirred within him. The more he knew, the more he questioned, and the seeds of doubt began to take root. How you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn. Once you were the brightest of all, the most radiant among the celestial beings. Your light was unmatched, your presence revered. The whispers started subtly. The adoration of the angels was no longer enough. Pride took root as he longed to ascend and equal the Most High. This desire marked the beginning of a cosmic shift, setting the stage for a profound transformation. As we explore this pivotal moment, we uncover the intricate balance of beauty and ambition, and the eternal consequences of pride. He wanted to ascend higher. He saw the throne of the Most High, the ultimate power, and desired it for himself. The throne represented absolute authority, a position that Lucifer yearned to claim. His thoughts, once pure, became consumed by envy. This ambition grew, overshadowing his former brilliance. A storm was brewing in the heart of paradise. The seeds of ambition had been sown, and the consequences would soon unfold, altering the course of the celestial realm forever. In the beginning, the heavens were serene, a realm of perfect harmony and divine order. But this tranquility was not to last. I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. The heavens roared with the sound of rebellion, a cacophony of defiance that echoed through the celestial realms. The tension built, a crescendo of rebellion. The once peaceful skies were now filled with dark, swirling clouds, a harbinger of the chaos to come. Lucifer, blinded by pride, rallied his followers. His charisma and ambition drew many to his cause, promising them power and glory. He sought to usurp the throne, to become like the Most High. The heavens trembled. The very foundations of the celestial order were shaken by his audacity. Angels, once loyal, chose sides in a cosmic battle. Brother turned against brother, and the bonds of loyalty were tested in the fires of conflict. The very fabric of the universe quivered under the weight of Lucifer's defiance. Stars flickered and galaxies trembled, as if the cosmos itself was holding its breath. The stage was set for a fall from grace. The heavens watched in anticipation, knowing that the outcome of this great upheaval would change the course of eternity. A light extinguished. Silence. The music of the spheres ceased. Lucifer's rebellion ignited a celestial war, the consequences of which would ripple through eternity. The once radiant star, consumed by its own ambition, fell from grace. The light dimmed, leaving behind a chilling void. The memory of his betrayal echoed in the silence. His fall served as a warning. Even the brightest star can be consumed by darkness. And then, the creation of Earth began with a whisper. Lucifer, the morning star, looked upon God's newest creation, and something within him twisted. Humans, fragile, mortal, and yet loved. Loved by God with a fierceness that Lucifer, in all his celestial glory, felt lacking. Resentment, like a serpent, coiled in his heart. The whispers grew louder, finding purchase in the hearts of other angels. They too saw the preferential treatment. Lucifer, their shining prince, promised them freedom, a new order where they, not humans, would stand at God's right hand. And so the heavens trembled. The first war was about to begin. The battle raged, a maelstrom of celestial fire and fury. Swords of pure light met with blades forged in the heart of dying stars. Lucifer, a charismatic general, rallied his legions. He fought with the fury of a betrayed son, his every blow aimed at the throne of God. The tide turned. One by one, his followers fell, their light extinguished, cast down into the abyss. Luke 10:18 tells us, "I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven." The defeat was swift and absolute. Lucifer, once the morning star, now tasted the bitterness of defeat. Cast out of heaven, Lucifer and his followers plummeted like burning stars, their celestial grace stripped away, replaced with the icy grip of damnation. They fell for what felt like an eternity, the light of heaven fading into a distant, painful memory. Below them awaited the prison they would come to know all too well. Earth. Their punishment was not merely exile. It was to walk among the very beings they envied, to witness firsthand the love and grace they had so desperately craved and so foolishly rejected. Their once shining forms were twisted, their beauty marred by the flames of their rebellion. Lucifer, once known as the bringer of light, became synonymous with darkness and despair. Earth. A paradise, yes, but one they could only observe, never truly enjoy. They were forced to walk among humans as ugly, unseen whispers in the grand tapestry of God's creation. They saw humanity's potential for love, for kindness, for all the virtues they had once embodied. But they also saw the darkness, the capacity for hate, for greed, for the very sins that had poisoned their own hearts. And they were consumed by jealousy. Every act of human kindness, every moment of joy was a fresh wound to their pride. It was, they believed, a cruel joke, a constant reminder of what they had lost and what they could never regain. They saw God's grace shining on the world. It was this grace, so freely given to humanity, that Lucifer and his followers found most unbearable. They, in their celestial perfection, had never known the burden of choice. They had never known the struggle of temptation, the thrill of overcoming it. They had never known the depth of love that could only be born from sacrifice. Genesis chapter 3, verse 1 tells the story of the serpent, Lucifer in disguise, tempting Eve in the Garden of Eden. He whispers doubts, sows seeds of discontent. Why should humans be denied knowledge? Why should they not choose their own path? This, Lucifer believed, was the flaw in God's plan. Humans, with their free will, were destined to fall. And in their fall, he would find a twisted sense of vindication. But what Lucifer failed to understand, what his pride blinded him to, was the transformative power of grace. But through it all, God's love would remain, a beacon in the darkness, offering redemption and forgiveness to all who sought it. And in that truth, in the enduring power of love and grace, lay Lucifer's ultimate defeat. The Garden of Eden, a paradise of vibrant life, a symphony of colors, a haven of peace. Adam and Eve, created in the image of God, walked in perfect harmony with their Creator. Their days were filled with joy, their hearts with innocence. They knew not shame, for they knew only love. But into this idyllic existence, a serpent slithered, his scales shimmering with an unholy light. His voice, a silken whisper, held the venom of deception. Did God really say, "You must not eat from any tree in the garden"? He hissed, his words dripping with doubt. Eve, taken aback, responded,
"You may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God did say, you must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, nor may you touch it, or you will die."
"You will not certainly die," the serpent countered, his voice smooth as silk. "For God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." With these words, the serpent planted a seed of doubt, a seed that would soon blossom into rebellion. He twisted God's words, making them sound restrictive rather than protective. He promised knowledge and power, appealing to their innate desire for more. The fruit, once so forbidden, now seemed desirable. Eve gazed at it, her heart torn between obedience and the serpent's alluring promises. Doubt gnawed at her soul. Could it be true? Could she become like God? She reached out, her hand trembling, and plucked the fruit from the branch. The silence of Eden was shattered. Eve took a bite, the sweet juice exploding on her tongue. In that instant, the world shifted. Her eyes flew open, but the knowledge she gained was not divine, but devastating. She saw her nakedness, felt the weight of her transgression. She had disobeyed God. She had chosen the serpent's lie over God's truth. Eve offered the fruit to Adam, and he ate without hesitation. In that moment, paradise was lost. Shame flooded their hearts, replacing innocence with guilt. They hid from God, their nakedness a symbol of their sin. The once vibrant colors of Eden seemed to dim, the air thick with the weight of their disobedience. God, in his infinite knowledge, knew what they had done. He called out to them, his voice filled with sorrow, not anger. "Where are you?" He asked, not because he didn't know, but because he wanted them to confess, to acknowledge their sin. Adam blaming Eve, Eve blaming the serpent. Judgment was swift, but not without mercy. The serpent, cursed to crawl on his belly, would forever be at odds with the offspring of Eve. Toil and pain would mark the woman's days. Her desire for her husband a source of both joy and sorrow. And Adam, the ground cursed for his sake, would labor for his sustenance, thorns and thistles a constant reminder of his disobedience. Yet, even in the midst of judgment, a promise was whispered, a seed of hope planted in the fertile ground of despair, a beacon of light in the darkness of their fall, foretold of a coming Redeemer. One who would crush the serpent's head and vanquish the power of sin. Accuser, deceiver, predator. The serpent, defeated but not destroyed, continued his insidious work. He became Satan, the adversary. In a celestial courtroom, Satan stands as the accuser of God's people on a pursuit to mislead in the eternal battle between truth and deception. In the book of Job, we see him challenging God, questioning Job's integrity, and accusing him of serving God only for the blessings he receives. He is the deceiver, whispering lies in the ears of the vulnerable, tempting them with empty promises. The Apostle Paul warns us in 2 Corinthians 11:14, and no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. He disguises himself as something good and desirable, leading people astray with half-truths and seductive deceptions. Peter describes him as a roaring lion, prowling around looking for someone to devour. He preys on the weak, the discouraged, the unsuspecting, seeking to steal their faith and destroy their hope. Though the serpent deceived in Adam and Eve, God, in his infinite love, provided a way back to himself. The very curse that brought pain and suffering also contained the seed of grace and redemption. The promise of a savior, born of a woman who would crush the serpent's head, echoed through the ages. God's grace, like a golden thread, runs through the tapestry of human history. He never abandoned his creation, but instead provided a way back to himself through the sacrifice of his Son, Jesus Christ. The fallen angels, once radiant, now shrouded in darkness, they know the searing pain of rejecting God. Their rebellion against heaven echoes through eternity. Their bitterness festers as they witness the unimaginable. God's grace extended to humanity. The very beings they scorn, flawed and fragile, are offered a path to redemption. This is the torment that burns within them. They chose pride and now endure an unending consequence. The love they rejected now flows freely to those they deem unworthy. Their rage is a testament to the depth of God's love. A love that extends even to the least deserving. And in this, their anguish is complete. The cross of Jesus stands in stark contrast to the darkness of the fallen angels. It is a beacon of hope, a symbol of love triumphing over hate. On that cross, God's own Son embraced suffering and death. He did this for humanity, broken and lost in sin. God's love was not a decree forced upon an unwilling creation. It was a choice freely given, born of compassion and mercy. An invitation to return to Him. He did not coerce or demand. He simply opened His arms and waited. The choice is ours to make. We can embrace the gift of grace, offered freely through the sacrifice of Jesus. Or, like the fallen angels, we can cling to our pride, rejecting the very love that could redeem us. God's plan has always revolved around love. He desires a relationship with us, not out of obligation, but from a place of genuine connection. Forced obedience holds no value in His eyes. He yearns for our hearts, freely given, drawn to Him by the irresistible power of His love. Imagine a king demanding the love of his people. His rule might be absolute, but their hearts would remain distant. True love cannot be coerced. It must be freely given. God's love is that open door. He invites us to step through, not because we must, but because we long to be in His presence. It is in that space of choosing Him out of love that we discover true freedom and experience the fullness of His grace. God demonstrates His own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Romans chapter 5, verse 8. Jesus' death on the cross was not a defeat, but the ultimate act of love. It was the fulfillment of God's plan to redeem His creation. In that single, selfless act, Jesus bridged the chasm sin had created. He became the way for us to return to God. Grace is not earned or deserved. It is a gift, freely given to all who believe. This truth is the foundation of our faith. We are saved by grace, not by our own merit. This is the message of the cross. We are loved, forgiven, and set free. Not because we are worthy, but because He is merciful. The devil, in his final judgment, will face the consequences of his rebellion. We will witness the culmination of God's plan. A heaven filled with those who chose love over hate, grace over pride. Choosing life, choosing grace, is not a sign of weakness, but of humility. It is acknowledging our need for God and accepting His love. It is in this surrender that we find true freedom and discover the immeasurable riches of His grace. For God so loved the world that He gave His one and only Son, that whoever believes in Him shall not perish but have eternal life. John chapter 3, verse 16. Lucifer fell by pride, but grace offers us a path to rise. Let us choose wisely. Let us choose life. Let us choose grace.